Hey everybody, I'm Tim Hockett. If you've been watching some of these videos, you know that I have deep concerns about America. I do believe that unity, or at least more unity, is an admirable goal. After all, we call ourselves the United States of America. But I have to admit that I haven't sounded very optimistic as I describe our condition. So today I want to try to answer the question, is America broken? I know. First, we ought to test that word broken. First, even though our nation has grown tremendously since its founding, both in population and in territory, not one of the states has left the United States. If any of them had, I would have to say that the good old USA is broken, but that hasn't happened. Yet, that said, there have been numerous calls for secession. Earlier this year, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia suggested some sort of national divorce. She views Democrats as enemies, you see. In 2013, there was a big petition in Texas asking for secession. It garnered over 125,000 signatures. This attitude is reflected in Congress, where parties either refuse to cooperate or threaten their members if they dare work across the aisle. Similar, but on a smaller scale, is a call from many counties in eastern Oregon to separate from Oregon and join the more conservative-leaning state of Idaho. They call for like-minded people living as neighbors. That's the kind of talk that's been used as predominantly white communities pull their support from public integrated schools to private white academies, mostly in the South. Mirroring that Oregon movement was Cal Exit, as some of California wanted to secede after Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016. Those Californians were happy to envision California as a separate country altogether. And then there is, of course, some local refusal to follow select federal or state laws. Most predominantly are the phenomena of sanctuary cities, where refugees would be welcomed, or the 11 states who refer to themselves as Second Amendment sanctuary states that will not enforce federal restrictions on firearms. When you add to that the many communities who vote themselves out of school districts or even fire districts, it's pretty alarming. I view these as deep tears in the fabric of America. Are all the levels of government functioning? Do state legislatures meet? Yes. Do cities and counties conduct business? Yes. It does appear that way for the most part. However, it hasn't been perfect. Oregon Republicans again this year walked out of the state legislature in order to deny Democrats, the majority, a quorum. They wanted to deny them a quorum, even though the people passed a referendum in the last cycle that said if a legislator has 10 unexcused absences, he or she may not be reelected. This was done specifically because the people were tired of walkouts freezing the actions of the state legislature. It's being challenged by some who now face not being able to be reelected, but it's not a good symptom of a healthy government, is it? Meanwhile, the federal government, along with its complex branches and many departments, does roll along, and much of it does function. But Congress seems to be almost paralyzed. It passes very little legislation, and members stoop to incivility in both word and action. So overall, I have to say America is not yet broken, but I do see symptoms of America being sick, very much like a person could be sick or maybe suffering from an injury. Here's some of the symptoms. Uncle Sam seems to be fighting itself, just like a body's immune system fighting itself, and it's causing a fever. And sometimes it breaks out in a rash of violence. Sometimes he acts crazy. Sometimes he even threatens self-harm. To be specific, January 6th, in my view, the riot at the Capitol was a major blow to our history. People, egged on by the former president, refused to allow a peaceful transfer of power. The inability of Congress to hold itself or the president accountable is a problem, a symptom. While Donald Trump was impeached twice on grounds of his obvious misconduct, he was not convicted by the Senate. Americans watched in disbelief as he courted Russia to help his 2016 election. He obstructed the subsequent investigation and later courted Ukraine, seeking that they invent a scandal to embroil then candidate Joe Biden. Currently, Representative George Santos, a Republican from New York, who's guilty of a long list of ethical misconduct, is still in Congress. There are 24 counts against him. He has openly lied. I say openly because he's admitted he's lied, he's cheated, he's stolen. It's crazy that he's been protected by his party, the Republican Party. In my humble opinion, one of the deepest flaws in America today is the refusal to hold our elected officials accountable. There are other symptoms, of course. Because so much money is now in play in elections due to a dubious ruling, in my view, of the Supreme Court, legislators are tempted to break the rules and to break the law. There's just so much money involved. When they do break the rules or break the law, they set a terrible example. And many have found that they can get elected by simply entertaining their constituents as if they're on some reality show. Issues take a back seat to name calling or hate speech. Another symptom, democracy's under attack. All kinds of efforts are afoot to make voting more restrictive, to make it harder to vote. And then there are attempts to deny history, to suppress the truth, banning books, imposing restrictions on academic freedom. Wow. Defining patriotism as adherence to one party. Wow, again. And the abandonment of decency in favor of mudslinging and beyond, sowing conspiracy theories and that the advocates know are lies. It's disheartening. So Uncle Sam, our patient, is definitely ailing. Is there any good news, Tim? Oh yes, there is good news. The good news is that lots and lots of people are calling again for a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. A government that recognizes every person is equal under the law. A government that not only protects us from foreign enemies with the finest military on earth, but protects us from ourselves with insistence on civil rights by providing a basic social safety net, clean water, clean air, solid nationwide investment in an infrastructure, and a chance for everyone to compete by enforcing common sense business regulation. Monopolies, in my view, are too strong. How can one compete against Amazon or Google or Twitter? Most Americans love being a part of a strong nation, so long as that strength doesn't erode our values or our identities. With your help, we can get well. We can insist that our elected officials be people of strong character, who put the nation, not their egos, first. We're not yet completely broken, but we need some medicine. We need the elixir of decency, responsibility, kindness, mutual support. We need to listen to what Abraham Lincoln called the angels of our better nature. think this through. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tim Hockett. Hey, before you go, I want you to know that I'm just trying to do my part to help us overcome crippling division in America. You can really help by subscribing, by watching these videos, and by sharing them with others. Hope you have a great day.